Hi everyone, I'm Marie Lastly, and this is a quick introduction about me and this class, Honors Pre-Calculus. So let's get into it. All right, so first a little bit about me. So if you did get my email that I sent out last Friday, you probably already know some of this stuff, but I figured we'd go over it again so you can see me saying it, I guess, instead of reading it off of an email. But anyways, my name is Marie Lastly. This is my 4th year teaching at Ballard High School. This is my 9th year teaching overall. I taught for 5 years in Virginia, which is where I am originally from. I have taught geometry, I've taught Algebra 2, and I've taught Honors Pre-Calc. So mostly at Ballard, I have taught mostly Honors Pre-Calculus. This is my 4th year teaching this course, but I also taught Algebra 2, both honors and regular, because they are mixed into the same class. So I am very familiar with what students should be taught, I guess, before they come into my class, which is really nice because I know kind of where they're coming from and what they've seen and how it was taught before. So it's really nice to be able to make those connections with students. If you did, like I said, read my email I sent out last week, you probably know this, but I am expecting my first child. I'm currently 7 months pregnant with a due date of Thanksgiving Day. So yes, you will have a long-term sub in this class while I'm on maternity leave. My thought is that I will probably go out Thanksgiving break and I will come back for the second semester in late January, early February, whenever the second semester starts. My long-term sub is Emily Markert. She was my student teacher last year, so it's going to work out really, really great for students because she has already taught this material. She has already seen how everything works in my class. She knows how to make videos. We still did teaching in the spring. So even though we were locked down and doing quarantine, my students were still doing math and watching videos and doing lessons and turning in homework and taking little mini quizzes and things like that. So Miss Margaret was there for the whole process. So she's really familiar with how to kind of do all of those things. So it should be a pretty good transition for the students and for you guys. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is honors versus core for this class. So this is the first math class at Ballard where we have honors and core split. And the reason is because they are two pretty different classes. The most important piece is that we do go at a much faster pace. The reasoning behind that is so this year in particular, we are in charge of covering 8 units, whereas regular pre-calc only covers 6 units. The reason being is because our goal is to get students ready for AP Calculus. And for AP Calculus, students need to be able to see a broader topic range than if they were just going into a regular calculus course. So we have content that students are going to need that's extra for AP that they wouldn't need for regular pre-calculus. So we do have to go much faster. It's going to break down to an extra unit per semester. All right. So that's the main difference. Pacing is really the biggest thing, but of course we're going to have a bit more challenging assessments. So their homework is going to be a little bit harder, and they're going to have a little bit more advanced assessments than, say, a regular class would. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. Like I said, the biggest thing is the pacing. That's the part that kind of has a hard time with students. All right, so here is the point breakdown for each semester. So let me just move my head. There we go. Now you can see it better. All right, so for each semester, we have 1,000 points. I tried to make the points as easy to understand as possible. So I was really used to percentage-based grades. So I tried to make this system about the same as a percentage-based grading system. So 1,000 points per semester, 700 of those points, or 70%, is going to come from accuracy-based grades. So those are going to be your tests, your quizzes, and what I'm calling check-ins. And we'll talk about those in a second. And then 300 points, or 30% of their grade, is going to come from completion-based grades. That's going to be your homework and then your exam reviews. And then if you look even closer, I broke down the 700 points so you can see like how the units are going to be assessed. So most units we're going to finish with a test. On smaller units, we'll finish with a quiz. There's really no difference except a quiz is 50 points, whereas a test is 100 points. But they're all going to happen at the end of a unit. So some units, since they're just smaller, we're going to end with a smaller assessment at the end. So the last thing to talk about in here are these check-ins. So any week that doesn't have a test or quiz, they will have a check-in. And it's going to be a 5-question, basically like a mini quiz. But they're 5 questions and they're only worth 10 points apiece, so the same as a homework assignment would be. But it gives them like the opportunity to practice what the problems on an assessment would look like. So it is accuracy-based grade, so they get an actual grade for it. But it's just like it's like a practice, right? So instead of having them wait all the way to the test to get their first like assessed grade, like accuracy grade, I put these little weekly check-ins in there to give them kind of like a taste of what they could see on a test or quiz. Like I said, they're very low stakes. They're worth the same as a homework. The only difference is they do get an actual grade, not just a completion grade. All right, moving right along. Classroom policies. So every synchronous time that we meet, students will have something to turn in, whether that's going to be just a classwork or a homework assignment, or if it's going to be some assessment-based grade. So on most weeks, if it's not a testing week, students will have three assignments to turn in. 2 homework assignments, 1 for each synchronous day, and then their weekly check-in. On weeks where they have an assessment, they'll only have 2 things to turn in. So they'll have their beginning of the week homework, and then they'll have their test or quiz. So they don't have an extra homework for that week. So yeah, so either 2 or 3 assignments each week for this class that they'll need to turn in. Most homework assignments are no more than 10 or 12 questions. So it shouldn't be too bad, but they do have to watch the note videos also during asynchronous time, so I didn't want to give too many practice problems. Now, for the first couple units, I've decided to be pretty lenient. I haven't really counted off anything for being late yet, but generally once we start getting into the hang of how everything works and how Schoology works and things like that, students will have 2 days to complete homework, and then if they do turn in past that deadline, they'll start to lose some points. The only hard deadline that we really have where students can no longer turn things in is the day that we finish up a unit. So all their tests and quizzes fall on Thursday, Fridays, depending on which day I see your student. But they'll have until Sunday night to complete those assessments. That means any other missing homework, or if they haven't done a check-in yet, those are also due no later than Sunday night. So the next day we start our next unit and we're moving on. So that's really the only hard deadline that I have for this class. Everything else is just turn it in during the unit and you'll get partial credit for it. Right now they're getting full credit for it, but that's only until we kind of get used to the whole system. And then the last thing on here is that there are no retakes for this class. So the reason being is I just don't feel like retakes are the best practice for getting students to retain information. So what I do instead is at the very end of the semester, students will have a chance to earn back some of their points that they would have lost by doing extra credit. And that extra credit is going to basically be an exam review. So they have a normal in-class exam review and they have the extra credit exam review. So, that way I can gauge how much they've really learned throughout the semester, not just did you memorize something for a test and then forget it the next day. I just don't like that kind of memorizing material culture because this class does really build on itself, and because it does go so fast paced, students have to retain every information for quite a long time. So that's my strategy. I think it works better for this class. Now, retakes may work better in other subjects, but for this one, since we build so much on the previous unit, then the extra credit at the end is a better system for this class, in my opinion, obviously. Some people probably think differently, but it is what it is, right? Okay, next one. All right, so here's the last page. So this is about contact information. So Schoology is going to be your student's best friend this year. It is where they're going to find their class resources, where their textbook is going to be linked on there, where they submit all of their work. It's where a OneNote class notebook link is located. So anything that the students need, Schoology is where they need to go. And then the last thing up here are the bi-weekly emails. So if you did get an email from me last week, then you kind of have an idea of what bi-weekly emails look like. They look much shorter than that email, I promise, but they generally are just a summary of what we've done in class for like that 2-week time period, just to keep you guys in the loop and make sure you know what's going on in your students' math career anyways. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email me. I can add you to the biweekly email list if you did not get one. And I can also take you off of the list if you would like to no longer receive those emails. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I know it went a little bit long. I tried my best to make it short, but I am very long-winded, so I apologize if you were bored like 5 minutes in. But anyways, have a great rest of your day, and I'm here if you need me. Bye.